Welcome to the series, To Preserve, Protect, and Defend the Soul of America. Today's topic is God, Gold, and the Airwaves, American Televangelism and the Mechanics of Unaccountable Power. Under American tax law, most major nonprofits, from billion-dollar hospital systems to sprawling universities, must file an annual disclosure called a Form 990. This document allows the public to examine their revenue, expenses, and executive compensation to ensure they are actually operating for the public good. Churches, however, are specifically exempt from this requirement. A religious organization can generate tens of millions of dollars annually, operate as a global media enterprise, and legally file nothing with the IRS that the public can see. This opacity allows for the unchecked accumulation of immense institutional wealth. Viewers' donations are converted into durable physical assets, like this 60-story medical tower in Tulsa, without triggering the tax consequences or public scrutiny attached to equivalent commercial developments. By layering these specific legal protections over mass media technology, televangelism created a category of organization that exercises massive commercial influence while remaining insulated from the financial transparency required of any other public institution. The mechanical foundation for the system was laid in the 1920s. Pioneers like Amy Semple McPherson proved that purpose-built broadcast infrastructure, like these radio towers atop her temple in Los Angeles, could expand a single charismatic personality across an entire region, scaling religious fundraising far beyond the confines of a traditional congregation. Oral Roberts adapted this model for television in the 1950s. He realized the camera demanded a different kind of performance. The unpredictable chaos of a tent revival had to be replaced by structured pacing, manufactured intimacy, and direct eye contact with millions of individual viewers. To monetize that massive audience, Roberts popularized seed faith theology. This framework defined a financial donation to the ministry as an act of spiritual investment. Viewers were taught that their money was a seed planted in fertile ground, and that they could expect a material, financial return directly from God. This theology activated a highly efficient direct mail loop. Viewers calling in prayer requests willingly supplied their mailing addresses. Ministries then segmented these emotional contacts, matching specific personal crises with urgent requests for financial support, all distributed using federally subsidized nonprofit postal rates. Seed faith theology successfully merged American consumerism with religious devotion. Questioning the fundraising meant questioning the faith itself. It gave donors a framework where parting with their money felt like empowerment, securing continuous, unregulated revenue for the broadcaster. The financial power of these networks relies on a triad of legal shields. First, Section 501c3 exempts all donation revenue from federal income tax. Second, their expansive real estate portfolios, including resorts and production facilities, are routinely exempt from local property taxes. Third, the parsonage allowance. Originally designed to help modest congregations house their pastors, this tax provision has been legally stretched by broadcast executives to exclude the value of multiple mansions, extensive travel budgets, and private aircraft from their personal taxable income. This chart illustrates the regulatory shift of the early 1980s. When the FCC eliminated long-standing public interest requirements, the remaining barriers to full-scale commercialization vanished. Religious organizations moved quickly, resulting in the massive spike in broadcast licenses and cable reach shown here. Shielded from taxes, property assessments, and now federal broadcast standards, these religious networks functioned exactly like commercial media conglomerates, acquiring highly valuable spectrum assets without the financial overhead or regulatory friction of secular businesses. The durability of this architecture was tested in 1987 with the collapse of Jim Bakker's PTL network. Bakker sold over 160,000 lifetime partnerships to his donors, guaranteeing them an annual free stay at a single 500-room resort hotel that could mathematically only accommodate a fraction of them. The subsequent federal investigation proved that donor funds were consumed by executive compensation and cover-ups. Bakker's criminal conviction for mail and wire fraud marked a rare instance of secular law penetrating the religious shield. When Jimmy Swaggart's parallel ministry collapsed amid personal scandal just months later, it became clear the industry was facing a systemic crisis. Contributions to major televangelists plummeted by tens of millions of dollars almost overnight. Yet the broader faith broadcasting complex barely paused. While audiences shrunk, the underlying tax exemptions, broadcast licenses, and direct mail infrastructure remained entirely intact. The scandals of the late 1980s proved that the system was largely immune to the moral failures of its founders. As long as the legal and regulatory armor held, the industry could easily survive the destruction of its biggest stars. By the late 1970s, political operatives recognized that televangelists were sitting on an incredibly potent resource. Their direct mail databases contained millions of self-selected, highly responsive donors who held ideological convictions that mapped onto emerging political coalitions. Jerry Falwell's creation of the moral majority institutionalized this realization. He officially married his vast broadcast audience and direct mail expertise to a national political agenda, creating a massive, well-funded mobilization machine. A donor dollar enters a tax-exempt 501c3 ministry. Through shared costs, this donation subsidizes data transfer to a 501c4 political group. The Johnson Amendment prohibits churches from endorsing candidates. While that gate is locked, the money detours through the 501c4 to fund partisan campaigns. This maneuvering allows networks to use tax-subsidized religious donations to build, target, and mobilize partisan political power, while keeping their internal ledgers hidden entirely out of the public eye. Civil libertarians and scholars of religious freedom argue that this lack of oversight is a necessary protection. From their perspective, the current level of autonomy for religious organizations is a requirement for religious freedom rather than a legislative oversight. The First Amendment was written by framers who watched governments use financial oversight as a weapon of state control. In modern American history, federal agencies have surveilled, audited, and harassed minority faiths and dissenting congregations under the guise of administrative oversight. This creates a legal paradox. A transparency rule written to audit a prosperity preacher's private jet simultaneously gives future administrations a permanent lever over the internal finances of every local minority congregation in the country. American law has never resolved this tension. Any attempt to protect a vulnerable minority faith inevitably provides a shield large enough to hide a multi-billion-dollar media empire. This comprehensive analysis is derived from the second book of the massive 30-volume series, To Preserve, Protect, and Defend the Soul of America. The book titled Volume 2, Fentanyl Nation, Inside America's Opioid Catastrophe, authored by Sue B. Howell. The book is available to purchase in all Amazon bookstores worldwide right now. Please subscribe and press the bell icon to get notifications. Thank you for watching.